Hi, everyone. Welcome to the channel. My name is Nick Cosgrove, and I am back with this week's No Filter Q&A. This is the episode where I answer all questions related to diet, training, and supplementation that I've received over the past 7 days from our in-house clients, online clients, as well as a few of our online followers. Remember, if you have any questions related to your nutritional plan, workout program, supplements you're taking, not taking, considering taking, please feel free to email me your questions at nick@foreverfitperformance.com. Or you can also DM me your questions on my Instagram at @fitcosgrove_. All right, so let's get started with this week's No Filter Q&A with question number 1. Nick, why do you think most people have trouble sticking to a clean diet? For me, it's a combination of stress and being too busy. Do you have any tips for people who are always on the go? Slow down. Listen, I've probably heard every excuse in the book as to why someone cannot stick to a diet. I've heard honestly everything. I've heard everything from I'm too busy, I'm too stressed, this is too hard, life is too hectic, this diet sucks, it's too boring, there's not enough variety. I've heard it. So usually when someone tells me that they're too busy, my first response is, wow, if you are busy 24 hours in the day, you must be making some good money. So if you're making good money, then you can obviously afford a meal prep service company to cook your own food for you. I have two clients that do that actually. And I think each meal costs like 20, 25 bucks and they get 5 meals a day fresh and delivered to their house or to their workplace. They make good money. They can afford it, but they are busy. So if you're that busy, I'd recommend hiring a meal prep service company to customize your meals for you. Now, if you're the busy and you don't have money, then that's not an option, right? So then you have to look at your schedule as never mind a day, but a week. There's 7 days in a week, right? So during that time, you can pick one day to prepare all your meals for the week. My parents used to call that leftovers. Now it's called meal prepping, but back when I was a kid, my parents used to do that all the time for us. It was just leftovers. I do it usually every like Sunday or Monday. I'll just get in my kitchen and I'll cook up 42 meals. And honestly, guys, it takes me about maybe an hour and a half to do that. And while I'm doing that, I'm multitasking, I'm answering emails, I'm uploading content on the social media platforms. I'm not sitting there and standing there cooking all the meals. And I just divvy everything up and it's done for the week. 42 meals in 90 minutes takes no time. So then when I tell people that, the next response I get, well, I like to eat fresh food. I say, well, if you like to eat fresh food, then you're going to have to find time in your day to cook each meal, or you're going to have to find a way to afford a meal prep service company that can customize each meal for you if you want to stick to a clean diet. So it can be done. You just have to look for solutions. Usually, though, the people that tell me they're too busy to cook their food are the same people that will spend 2 hours watching a movie or an hour watching YouTube videos or scrolling through Instagram and looking at reels for 2-3 hours in bed. So, I mean, there's time in your day. So it's really not a good excuse. And I can always answer an excuse with an answer and say, well, you can do this. And then they'll find another excuse. Well, no, I can't do this. So it really comes down to how bad do you want to change your nutritional plan, right? And there are people that just like, you know what? It's not worth it. I like eating like crap. Fine, do it. But if it's bothering you and it's bothering you the way you feel, it's bothering you the way you look, then yeah, you have to make a change in your life. You have to make it a priority to prep your food, or as I mentioned, hire the services of a meal prep company that can customize and make your meals for you. I mean, really, guys, it comes down to that. As far as eating out, it's very difficult to eat clean when you eat out. It can be done, but it's difficult, especially when you go to certain places. And like if you go to your average cafe down the street, there's not going to be many healthy options. I mean, Starbucks, the egg white omelet or whatever they have, that's not that healthy. So you're better off just making your own food or hiring a meal prep service company that will customize the food for you. Those are my answers. Find time in the 7 days of the week to prep all your meals for the week. If you like fresh food, find a way to budget for a meal prep service company that can prep your food for you if you don't have the time to cook your meals. There's no magic secret, guys. That's it. Okay, question 2. Hi, Nick. Is keto bread okay to eat? Sure. Yeah, no, keto bread's fine. So usually if I'm not working with someone on a keto diet, I rarely do keto diets, but I'll usually incorporate something like Ezekiel bread. I like Ezekiel bread. It's a flourless bread. It's also fairly low in carbs. Keto bread is obviously going to be lower in carbs. So if you're trying to watch your carb intake, yeah, that's a good solution. But just remember, though, it's not very filling. I've had keto bread before. It's really not that filling. So obviously, if you're following a ketogenic diet, it'll work for you because you're going to be eating primarily lots of fats. But if you're someone who's following a moderate to low fat diet, you might want to look at incorporating something more like Ezekiel bread. But I have no problem with keto bread. Keto bread's actually quite nutritious too. So I just personally don't find it very filling. That's why I don't put it on most people's nutritional plans. I have incorporated though on some people's plans in the past, especially if I'm switching someone to a ketosis diet for 2 to 3 weeks. Like I said, I don't put people on keto diets for 16 weeks, but there are times, especially if I'm getting someone ready for a wedding event or a bodybuilding competition, where I might put them on a keto diet for 2 to 3 weeks just to lean them out a little bit more if we're on a timeline. But rarely does that ever happen. But yeah, nothing wrong with keto bread. If you like it, eat it. I personally don't find it filling. Most people I know who've had it don't really find it that filling. A great alternative is the Ezekiel bread. It's a little higher in carbs, but we're talking like 5-6 grams more per slice. So it's really nothing. So if you like it, eat it. Next question. Okay. Hi, Nick. Both my knees have been in pain for the past few days. I haven't done anything different as of late and couldn't even train legs since last week. Any idea to what's going on? It's really difficult for me to diagnose issues unless I see you in person and I have a whole like day-to-day log of what you've been doing, you know, what you do for work. Do you have an active job? Do you sit all day? So these are all things like that help me. It's like a homework assignment. They allow me to get a better idea as to what your day-to-day activities are. But one of the things I will say, though, we're entering the fall season now. And what I see during the fall season and when we go into the winter and then we go into the spring, whenever there's a change in season, that's when I notice a lot of people I work with, they start to get some pain and inflammation in their joints. Very common. And my whole theory behind that, although I've never been able to prove it, but my own theory about this is that as the temperature outside changes drastically, very quickly. I mean, here in Vancouver, it was hot right up to about a week ago. We had a crazy long summer, and all of a sudden, it just went and it turned into like super cold within the last 2 days. So even myself, with that change in temperature, my body temperature is not able to catch up to the temperature outside, and it wasn't able to adjust accordingly. I'm even noticing my joints, my knees, my elbows, my shoulders are a little bit more stiff and inflamed than usual. And I believe that's because the weather changed so quickly. And now my core temperature needs to change with it just to catch up. So I think that's the reason why a lot of people experience joint pain when the seasons change. It's pretty common. Now, I'm not saying that is the issue here, because obviously I don't work with you, so I don't know. But if it's a case with your knees, what I'd recommend doing is doing some dynamic stretching. If you go on my Instagram, I've got a few videos up there that show some dynamic stretches. Another thing you can do, you can also join our online app where there's tons of videos and stretches. All you have to do is DM me, or you can send me an email and I'll send you a link to our app. And that could help. Another thing, you can go for some deep tissue massage around the muscle bellies. Apply some topical adhesive on there, Tiger Balm, Voltaren to the joints. But I honestly think if it's something that just came on in the last 2-3 days and you haven't banged it, or you haven't done it, you haven't had a fall, it's most likely weather related. Okay. Another thing too is watch how you're walking, watch how you're standing. Try to put the bulk of your weight on your heels, not your toes. There's some people that don't even notice that they're walking with their toes. When they're walking upstairs, they put pressure on their toes rather than their foot and their heel. Whenever you're walking upstairs or walking downstairs, or even just walking on the street, just be very mindful of how you walk and make sure, hey, am I pushing through my heels when I walk, or am I pushing through my toes? You always want to push through your heels, right? When you walk, when you squat, when you're going upstairs, going downstairs, push through the center of your foot, push through your heel, don't push through your toes, because that'll cause a lot of issues down the road for your patella and into your meniscus. So try those things out. It's just a theory, but if it gets worse, I'd go see your doctor, and you might have to get an MRI if it gets worse. But hopefully it doesn't get worse and it goes away within the next few days. But in my experience, when joint pain comes on that quickly for really for an unknown reason, it's usually weather related. All right. Next question. Hi, Nick. Why are steroids illegal in Canada, but legal in other countries like Mexico and Thailand. Do you think steroids will ever become legal here? No, I can't see it happening. Problem here in Canada and in the US, we have a lot of regulations, right? And it was funny because back in like I think it was in the 1970s, steroids were actually really easy to get. You could go to your doctor and get them. A lot of the bodybuilders back in the 70s would get a prescription for their steroids. It's pretty easy to do. But over the years, we've found that there are some adverse side effects to steroids, especially if they're abused. Now, in countries like Thailand and Mexico, I can't tell you why they're legal. I don't live in those countries, but I imagine they're a little bit more relaxed on the rules when it comes to anabolic steroid usage. And as far as I know, you don't have a bunch of people going over there abusing the drugs. I do think with North America culture, with the way we are, especially in the bodybuilding scene and the fitness scene, I do think if steroids were legal here, people would abuse them. So it's almost, I don't want to say it's a good thing that we have an underground market here, because that's not good either, because you never know what you're getting. But at the same time, I think if they were illegal and you just walk into a pharmacy and buy EQ or buy DECA, I think that would probably be dangerous for a lot of guys who are watching social media and they want to get big like a lot of the bodybuilders they see online. So I think it's good that it's a controlled substance. I can see, though, in the next 15, 20 years, something like testosterone becoming legal. I personally don't see any reason why that can't be legalized. I mean, you never really hear people overdosing on testosterone. You never really hear people overdosing on steroids, but the problem is we do know there are some adverse side effects to taking too much anabolic steroids for a long period of time too. And I'm saying a lot of these guys and women, they take steroids for not just like a few months, but a few years. Those years turn into decades, 2-3 decades. And that's a lot of pressure on the heart. You throw in some growth hormone on top of that. I mean, that's why a lot of these guys are dying in their early 40s. Some are even dying in their mid 30s, right? There's been a lot of deaths in bodybuilding in the last 2-3 years, and people dying at really young ages. So, and a lot of it's related to the heart. So I don't see steroids ever becoming legal in Canada. As I said, though, I could see something like testosterone becoming legalized. Maybe a few certain steroids, maybe Anavar, things that are not so toxic on the liver, but I don't think so. No, I don't think we're ever going to see that day. All right, next question. Nick, are you going to get your COVID booster shot? I'm a bit worried as I don't want to get sick and know quite a few people who've gotten sick from the 4th shot so far. Yeah, so do I. I would say every single one of my clients, every single one of my clients who've had the 4th booster shot have all gotten sick, and really sick, like out from the gym for 3 or 4 days. Well, it's a full shot now. So it's funny that we call it a booster shot because it's a full dosage, right? Now, I don't want to send out the message here and tell people not to get their shots, so I have to be careful what I say. But right now, I'm on the fence. So I've had all 3 of my shots. I have still not been called for my 4th shot yet, but I'm on the fence because just like you, I know quite a few people too who I think actually everyone that I know who's gotten the 4th shot has gotten sick. I think my dad got the 4th shot, and I don't think he got sick. I think he was fine. And I think my mom got the shot, and I think she was okay. But as far as my clients, yeah, everyone got really sick. So I don't want to get sick. I can't afford to get sick right now. I mean, I'm working some pretty long days, so I'm on the fence. At the same time, though, because I work with the public, I feel like it's my duty to make sure that I don't, if I get COVID, I don't spread COVID, right? So it's kind of like that catch-22 where I've got to think, okay, well, how do I feel about this personally? But at the same time, I don't want to put my clients at risk. So something that I can't answer that question right now. If you give me a few weeks, I'll probably have a better idea. I like to feel it out though and see, who else is getting sick here? What else are the effects? Obviously, we're not going to know the long-term side effects from these booster shots for maybe 10, 15 years from now. But as it stands right now, I did get COVID last year, or no, sorry, this year, but it was at the beginning of this year. It was back in January. And I spoke about this earlier. Our gym was closed during the time I got COVID. I felt fine, a little run down, but I wasn't bedridden or anything like that. I was still able to do my online work. But as far as the 4th booster shot, I'm on the fence right now. So tell you what, I'll answer that question in the next 2 or 3 weeks. I want to see how things play out. And once I get called, I haven't been called yet. I'll probably get called though within the next few days because I think they're hitting my age bracket very soon. All right. Sorry, downtown. All right. Next question. Hi, Nick. I suffer from chronic fatigue and it gets really bad in the afternoon. So much so that I need to take a 2 hour nap. My naturopath told me I should just listen to how I'm feeling and go with my energy levels throughout the day. Problem is, if I do that, I will never get anything done. Yeah, no kidding. Uh, do you have any tips to dealing with chronic fatigue? Um, that's a tough one. I mean, when someone tells me that they're constantly feeling tired and they have no energy, like my first answer to them is, hey, maybe you should go to your doctor and get your thyroid tested. You could have a thyroid issue, right? A lot of people think that if they have a thyroid issue, they should be putting on, like, let's say they have a hypoactive thyroid, they should be putting on tons of weight. That's not necessarily true. Your thyroid could be slightly inactive, and it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to affect your weight gain or weight loss, but it can affect your energy level. So there's some misconceptions about the thyroid. So that would be my first thing. I'd say, if I was feeling chronic fatigue for months on end, I'd go to my doctor, tell him the symptoms, and ask to see if I can get my thyroid tested. That'd be my first thing. Now, let's say your thyroid is fine. So then I'd be looking at, okay, the next thing I'd be looking at is my quality of sleep. Am I getting a good at least 6 to 7 hours of sleep a night? That's crucial. Then take it from someone who used to think that sleep wasn't that important, and then I had a grand mal seizure from lack of sleep. That's what they determined the cause was. So now I'm a huge advocate of sleep. So 6 to 7 hours of sleep. I'm also not a huge advocate of taking naps in the afternoon. And it's funny because I remember talking to my neurologist about this, and he actually advises his patients not to have naps, even elderly people, not to nap throughout the day, because he was saying, it actually impacts your quality of sleep later on into the evening. So for me personally, I try to avoid, even if I'm feeling tired, I don't even lay down. I say, you know what? I'll go to bed at 11:30 at night, and I'll sleep straight through. So I try to avoid that. Now, I'm not telling you to do that. I'm just saying what my naturopath had told me and what he advises his patients. Um, but let's say your sleep, you are getting that 6 to 7 hours a night of sleep, and we don't know if it's good quality sleep or not. But let's say it is good quality sleep, then I'd be looking at your diet. And one of the things you really have to look for, especially if you're dealing with chronic fatigue, is your sugar intake. A lot of people that I know have like problems when it comes to sugar addiction, and they don't even realize. They say, Nick, I never have sugar. I hardly have any sugar. Then they don't realize they're having sugar in their coffee, or they're having all these condiments that have sugar in them, or they're eating tons of fruits that, yes, it's natural sugar, but it's still sugar. So you have to watch your sugar intake, because don't forget, sugar will do like this. I've talked about this before, to your insulin levels and your blood sugar levels. So it's going to make your energy fluctuate throughout the day. So I'd be looking and say, okay, I'm a man here. I'm going to be trying to keep my sugar to no more than 30 grams a day, and that includes natural sugar. I'm a woman. I'm going to try to keep my sugar to 25 grams or less per day, and that includes natural sugar. So look at that first. Start counting your grams of sugar. How much are you having in a day? Now, let's say your sugar intake's fine. So that's fine too. Next thing I'd be looking at is your caffeine, right? If you're a caffeine addict and you're drinking tons of coffee all day, or you're having tea, or you're having caffeinated drinks, the Red Bulls, those monster drinks, if you're hitting tons of caffeine, that's going to really affect your energy levels, because your body's going to become reliant on it. So I'd be looking at your caffeine intake. For caffeine, I generally recommend that you don't exceed more than 300 milligrams per day. And that to me is still ridiculously high. For me, I do 1 cup of coffee a day, 50 milligrams. That's pre-workout, and I'm good. That's it. And I'm 210 pounds. Like, that's more than enough for me. And that's great. More than that, I'd have the jitters all day. So when I tell people 300 milligrams, they can't believe, like, they realize that's so little. But you have to remember, guys, a grande at Starbucks is 50 milligrams. So that's like 6 grandes right there, right? 300. And that to me is still really high. But I work with a lot of caffeine addicts. So I tell them, take it down to at least 300, if possible, even 150, 100. But most people won't do that. So yeah, I'd be looking at that. Look at your diet, look at your quality of sleep, and talk to your doctor about getting your thyroid tested. And that's what I would do. But it sucks. I know. I'm sorry. That's a really hard predicament to be in. The one thing I can tell you, though, is if you can force yourself to go to the gym and exercise, that can really help. And Yeah, you might feel like crap while you're in there, but you'll feel better when you leave. And just mentally, a good workout can make all the difference. So that might brings down some stress. Stress can also lead to chronic fatigue. So make sure that your workouts are in check. You're getting your cardiovascular activity in. You're eating right. You're sleeping. Have a good sex life. All these things help. All right, that's my recommendation. Okay, next question. Hi, Nick. I saw your email from last week and read that you're reducing your on-floor roster in the new year. Are you planning on changing careers? No, no. I don't. I did send out an email to all our clients last week explaining that we are changing gyms, that we're transforming the business. So let me just be clear here. I'm not leaving the fitness industry. I'm not retiring or anything like that. What's happening though is that I'm personally transitioning more towards online work now. I mentioned in the email that 30% of our revenue is online, but what I didn't mention is about 70% of my personal revenue is now online. So my business, for me personally as a trainer and a coach, the bulk of my clientele are now working with me online. So that doesn't mean I want to stop working on the floor. I love working with people on the floor. But what's happening is because as my online business is growing and I'm working with more and more clients, it's getting more and more difficult for me to train clients on the floor, because training people on the floor takes a lot of time out of my day. If I'm on the floor in the gym for 7 or 8 hours, once I'm done, I'm online for another 7 or 8 hours, working with all my online clients, updating their weekly check-ins, revising programs, answering questions. So it's a whole other job. So I'm finding now, especially as I get older, it's getting a little bit more challenging for me to get up. I know I'm only 37, but don't forget, I've been doing this for 20 years. So it is getting a little bit more challenging for me to get up at 5 a.m. There is some gray in my beard now. So it's very hard on my body. So as I mentioned in the email, is that I would be taking a step back from the on-floor training. However, I'm not going to be leaving it altogether. I'm going to be working out of a few gyms in the Lower Mainland, one of them being my friend Richie's gym in Burnaby. I'll be working at a few apartment building gyms in the downtown side. But yes, I will be keeping my roster. I'll be limiting my roster. I'll be making it smaller. I will not be taking on new clients to work with in the new year in person. But it looks like I'm already forming that roster for in-house clients who'll be working with me at the different gyms in the new year. But no, I'm not leaving the fitness industry. So when I sent out that email, it must have been the way I wrote it, because I had a lot of people write me back saying, well, where are you going? Where are you leaving? And I'm like, well, I'm not leaving anywhere. Hold on. I'm not leaving. I'm still going to work, but I'm not going to be working at our downtown training facility anymore. I will be working primarily online, but I will still be working a few hours each week on the floor. So you will still see me in the gym. I'll still be working with clients for the time being. But I won't be doing those 8-hour days on the floor anymore. I'll probably be bringing them down to about 3 hours a day, 5 days, 6 days a week, but not going on anywhere yet. All right. Next question. Hi, Nick. What do you think about cryotherapy? I'm thinking about trying it for I'm thinking about trying it for my arthritis. Yeah, I think that's a great idea. So a lot of people try cryotherapy for a few reasons. One being arthritis, osteoarthritis. That's a big reason. One is actually inflammation in the tendons and joints. A lot of athletes use it. And actually, cryotherapy has been around for a long time. But over the past, I'd say probably about 10 years, it's gained a lot of media attention, and now the general public's using it. There's salons and spas that are offering it. But athletes were using this back in the 90s. Football players were sitting in ice baths after the game, right? That's a form of cryotherapy. Now you go into a full-on, it's like a freezer, and you stand there for like 2 or 3 minutes. But there are some studies backing that it can help reduce inflammation. So I'm all for it. I think it's great. I've advised a few of my clients who deal with, who have some osteoarthritis or deal with chronic joint pain or tendon issues to go to the cryotherapy. Actually, the person who asked that question earlier about their knees, they might want to try the cryotherapy as well. Because like I said, you can go online and read this. There's tons of research backing that cryotherapy does work. So it's not just a fad. Now, does it work for everyone? No. Just like IMS doesn't work for everyone. Chiropractic care doesn't work for everyone. Massage therapy doesn't work for everyone. Personal training doesn't work for everyone. So you have to try it and see. When I say try it, I don't just mean try one session. Book like a package, book like 6 sessions and see how you feel after those 6 sessions. Is it working? Great. If it's not, okay, try something else. But in my opinion, it does work. I've done it before. I did it a few years ago. I had an issue with my right hip flexor, and it was when I used to squat really heavy. And I think it was from squatting really heavy for all those years when I used to compete. And I did cryotherapy. I booked about 12 sessions, and I honestly, it's gone. It was gone after 3 sessions, but I still kept it up. And I haven't had pain in that right hip flexor ever since. So yeah, I'm a firm believer that it does work. But again, try it and see for yourself. But like anything, don't just go for 1 session and say, oh, it doesn't work for me. Try at least, I recommend trying at least 6 sessions. I felt better after 3 personally, but everyone's different. Okay. Next question. Nick, how important is it to shave all your body hair for bodybuilding? I'm doing my first show in November and worried that if I shave all my hair off, it's going to grow back thicker. Can I just shave my chest and back, or do I need to shave everything? You need to shave everything. Everything. So you have to remember, body hair, it will hide your muscle, especially when you're lean. So it doesn't help. It doesn't help your physique. So if you're a guy, we're talking about a guy here. Well, women should shave too, but women don't need to obviously shave as much as guys do. So yes, you should be shaving. And if your show's in November, I would start shaving now, because what's going to happen is the first time you shave, you're going to get some razor burn, right? You're probably going to get some ingrown hairs. So you want to make sure when you shave, you exfoliate and just get your body into that routine, because you don't have much time left. The last thing you want to do is shave 2 days before the show, and then you wake up and you have all kinds of ingrown hairs all over you. You have a rash over you because your body's in shock, right? So you don't want to do that. So I'd start shaving now, and I would start shaving at least twice a week, just to get your body adjusted to that. But yeah, you're going to definitely need to shave. And yes, it will grow back thicker, but it's part of the game. I mean, when I used to compete, I would shave my chest at least twice a week. I'd shave my arms once a week. I'd shave my legs once a week. I didn't really get much hair on my back until the later part of my bodybuilding career. But again, it wasn't much hair. It was like peach fuzz. But then I started to shave my back a little bit too. And now, even to this day, I mean, I don't shave my arms anymore. I don't shave my legs. I still shave my chest, but I don't shave it completely. I leave a little bit of hair there. But if I were to compete again on stage, absolutely, yes, I would definitely shave. I'd even probably shave my beard, because the beard can be distracting on stage. So the less body hair you have, the better. And overall, just for the record, if you are a guy, you should be grooming everything anyway. Everything should be in check. I think if you talk to most women, women don't like to see a bunch of hair, and especially down there, guys. So I would definitely groom for sure. So even if you're not a bodybuilder, you should be at least grooming your body hair to a degree. No, you don't have to shave everything, but you should be grooming. But anyway, you're not asking me about that. You're asking me about body hair. To answer that question, yes, you're going to have to shave everything. You can wax too, although at this close to a show, I wouldn't recommend waxing, because you don't know how your body's going to react. Maybe wait till your next show, and then you can wax a few months out to see how your body reacts to waxing. I waxed once, never again. It was the most painful experience for me. I don't know how women do it. Women obviously have a stronger threshold for pain than men do, but hell no, there's no way I'd wax again. But shaving doesn't take much time. Do it quickly. You have a razor. Honestly, you can shave your whole body within like half an hour, 45 minutes. Done. Listen to a podcast while you do it. It will grow back thicker though. Yes. But again, if you want to be a bodybuilder, you want to compete in bodybuilding, you're going to have to shave. There's no way around it. All right. Last question. Nick, your thoughts on what makes a coach good at their job? Oh, good question. A few things. Accountability. And I don't just mean holding their clients accountable, but being accountable themselves for their clients. I think it's so important that a coach is there for their clients. So you don't have to answer if someone has a question, you don't have to answer within 5 minutes. People understand you have a life, but someone is hiring you for your services, and it should go beyond just the gym. So for example, a lot of my clients who work with me, one of the things I always say, hey, if you have any questions related to your diet, your training, email me anytime. And my clients, they do. They have a question, they know they can email me, and they know I'll get back to them within a 24-hour period. I'm busy, but I can get back to people within 24 hours. And I don't care if it's a Saturday or Sunday, I'll still get back to somebody. If it's a question that requires a little bit more detailed answer, I might say to them, hey, give me 2 or 3 days and I'll get back to you on this. Or if I don't know the answer to the question, I might say, hey, give me a day or two, or I might refer out. But you have to be accountable for your clients. You're going to hold them accountable, but at the same time, you need to be accountable. And that's very important. Another thing is you have to, in my opinion, as a good coach will always take a customized approach to each individual he or she works with. So I see a lot of these coaches online now, and they're saying, hey, I'm making $250K a month and I'm training all my clients online. I've got 5,000 clients. And there's a certain coach out there who's promoting that right now. I won't say who he is, but I'm just like, okay, wait a second. If you got 5,000 clients, how are you customizing each program? And the answer is you're not. There's no way that you can do that as one person. It's impossible. You can say, well, my team and I. Well, who's your team, right? Who's this team? Because usually these teams are like virtual assistants who, live off in some other country. So this team of trainers, I mean, I don't buy it. I don't. I don't like that. That's why moving forward with the online training, I'm really going to trying to attack the online training using a customized approach, still capping my roster at a certain number of people. If I can't work with someone, I'll say, hey, I cannot work with you right now, but my roster is going to clear up in the next 3 or 4 weeks. I have someone just finishing up a program with me. I'll be happy to work with you, because then I know I can provide my undivided attention to that person when I'm working with that person. Right? If I'm working with 5,000 people, there's no way that I can give each person my attention. So if I'm working with a smaller roster of people, I can set aside time to work with each person. That's why I have different days, different weekly check-in days. So I know, okay, I have got like 20 people checking in with me today. I can handle that. I've got 10 people checking in with me tomorrow. I can handle that. I cannot handle if I have 100 people checking in with me all in one day. There's no way I'm going to be able to get back and respond and revise all their programs. I'm only one person. So I think being able to provide a customized service is crucial. And that's not always important to everyone. Some people might say, you know what, my coach doesn't need to customize anything for me. They can give me a copy and paste generic plan. I'm fine with that. Okay. But then my response to that is, why hire a coach at all? Why not just go on Google and just Google a copy paste program? Why pay a coach $300-400 a month to coach you online when you can just easily find that information yourself? So yeah, I think a good coach really does have to hold him or herself accountable to their clients, take a customized approach, and at the same time, remember that there's a standard of professionalism that you have to portray as a coach, because your clients, not only are they hiring you for a service, but they respect you and they look up to you in a degree that they say you're going to help take their physique and their health to a next level. So they're putting a lot of faith in you. So that's a lot of responsibility. And it's not something that should be taken lightly. You are dealing with people's health. So yeah, we're there to help people lose fat and build muscle, but at the end of the day, we're also there to help people become more healthy and improve the quality of their lives. So that's a job that I take incredibly serious. And as I mentioned last week on the channel, I feel that the coaching industry is getting very, very diluted, and it's embarrassing. And now anyone can be a coach, and anyone with a good physique can be a coach. And it's just like, that's not true. It's not true. And I don't think it's going to last. I think people like that will get exposed for who they truly are. And I think they'll kind of fizzle out, and the good coaches will still be there. But for now, yeah, it's become a big fad, especially for online training. And it's just something that we have to put up with as good, reputable coaches. But if you ask me what makes someone a good coach, is they hold themselves accountable to their clients, they take a customized approach, and they make sure that they conduct themselves in a professional manner, and they try to provide the absolute best service that they possibly can to their clients. Be empathetic towards their clients. Don't get mad at someone just because they cheat on their diet or they miss a few workouts. I mean, be human. Understand that shit happens. Understand that not everyone loves going to the gym and wants to eat chicken and rice every day, right? So a good coach is empathetic and understands this and troubleshoots when troubleshooting needs to be done. Anyway, that's what I think makes a good coach. Hey guys, that's it for this week's No Filter Q&A. This episode will be going up on Tuesday afternoon. As a reminder, if you do have any questions related to your diet, training, or supplementation, please feel free to email me those questions at nick@foreverfitperformance.com. You can also DM me your questions on my Instagram at @fitcosgrove_. Thank you all for watching. Have a great week, and I will see you all next week.